Hello everyone. So today's topic is structure and function of cell wall. It is for the BSc third year, unit 1. Okay. So as we all know, like in previous lecture, we have discussed about the eukaryotic cell structure. In that we have seen that plant cell and animal cell is there. In plant cell, you have an outer layer which is a protective layer or a covering, you can say. That layer is called as cell wall. Okay, as the name says itself, that this wall which protects the cell, or it is outer covering, that's why it is named as a cell wall. Okay, so we will just see that how it is or what's the basic function or the structure of the cell wall. So cell wall is a rigid non-living and it covers the plasma membrane. Okay, and it provides the strength, protection and a shape. So based on these two only, we understood that it is the wall or a layer which covers the cell, and it is besides, like it is again covering the plasma membrane, and plus it provides the strength and protection and a shape. So outer structure of the cell wall is provided by the cell wall. Okay, a kind of a structural framework, we can say. A perfect shape of the cell is provided by the wall of the cell, and it is understood that it provides the strength and protection. Okay, as like in animal cell you will not find a cell wall. Okay, plus it allows the communication between the other cells. Yes, definitely, as in any room there are doors, windows for entry and exit of anything, like in windows are there in present in any room, which helps to enter the light. Okay, so it is a kind of two-way process. Okay, so same like that, the cell wall which covers the cell, it communicate with the other cells which are present nearby or the neighboring cells. So this, suppose just this is a cell having a cell wall. So cell wall is not just a single layer structurally, it is more complex if we see. Okay, so we will just dive into that, how is the structure of the cell wall. So before cell wall, there is one more layer which separates the two neighboring cells, that is called as middle lamella. It also provides a kind of protection to the two neighboring cell, and inside this neighboring cell there is the cell wall. Okay, and innermost layer is plasma membrane. So on this cell wall there are certain openings or channels which are called as plasmodesmata, and inside this plasma membrane, as we all know, there is a cytoplasm or a lumen which is present inside the cell, your plasma membrane. Okay, so structurally the cell wall is made up of two layers, you can say. At the younger stage, in any cell, plant cell, you will find that primary cell wall is there, and when the cell grows, during the secondary growth, you will find that secondary cell wall is present. Okay, so primary cell wall generally a single layer, and the secondary cell wall, as the cell matures, it may have 1, 2 and 3 layers, which is just again called as secondary cell wall 1, secondary cell wall 2 and secondary cell wall 3. So based on the growth pattern, you will find that primary cell wall is there at the early stages, and when the cell matures, it will have the secondary cell wall. Okay, so we will go one by one. So what is middle lamella? It is the outermost layer. It is formed during the cell division, and it is rich in calcium pectate. Okay, that's why it is very strong. Okay, and it acts as a natural cement. So in any wall, like there is in between, to stick it, we generally put cement. Okay, same like that, it acts as a natural cement. Okay, second is the primary cell wall. As I said, in early growth, you will find the primary cell wall is present. So it is thin, flexible and elastic, and due to this only, it provides a kind of expansion to the cell shape. Okay, so chemically it is composed of cellulose, hemicellulose and pectin. Do remember this composition, because it is generally asked in competitive exam that what is the basic composition of the cell wall. So it is the cellulose, okay, and it also have cellulose, hemicellulose and pectin. Okay, so as I said, it allows the cell expansion, and it is formed when the cell is growing actively. Okay, So coming to the secondary cell wall, as I said, the secondary cell wall is again not just a single, okay, it do have 3 layers, okay. So secondary cell wall 1, 2 and 3. So it is also thick, rigid, and it is made up of cellulose and lignin, okay. It is very hard and formed during the secondary growth. When we say it is hard, okay, it is because of the composition of the cell wall, okay. So it is generally found in xylem fibers and sclerenchymatous. You might have studied about this earlier also. There are different types of cells like chlorenchymatous, parenchymatous and sclerenchymatous. Okay, so sclerenchymatous are one of the hardest type of the cell, okay, and it is due to the more lignin deposition. So so in this such type of cells, you will find that secondary cell wall is present. So as I said earlier also, the chemical composition may vary cell to cell. Cellulose, hemicellulose, pectin, lignin, cutin and suberin, these are certain chemical composition which helps to form these your cell wall, okay. And here you will find next is the plasmodesmata. On the cell wall there are certain openings, okay, which helps for the communication between the different cells, and that openings are nothing but called as the plasmodesmata. For cell communication, cell to cell communication, these plasmodesmata are present, okay. So now we will just see the structure of the your cell wall, okay. If you can see over here, there are 2 adjacent cells, okay, and in between the 2 adjacent cells there is one layer which is called as middle lamella. Inside this middle lamella there is a primary cell wall, okay, made up of cellulose, microfibril, hemicellulose and pectin. If we see here, you will find as the cell matures, the secondary cell walls are there. Either it would be first layer, second layer or third layer. So mainly 3 layers are there in the secondary cell wall. And inside this, if we see, you will find that most interesting layer which is present, that is the plasma membrane. We will do that also, we will study that also. And inside this plasma membrane there is cytoplasm. So this was the simple cell wall structure. Till now we have, like, we just imagine that how would be cell wall. It is so we just say that it is the outermost layer, okay, which covers the cell, okay, but it is not like that. So cell wall structure is also very complex, okay. You will find that it is in primary stages, the primary cell wall is there, and once the cell grows, the more harder layer is formed by secondary cell wall. So 1, 2 and 3, and the most importantly, the function of cell wall is protection, okay. The shape, it provides a kind of shape to the cell, okay. So cell wall is not just a single layer, but it is the complex structure which is present in the plant cell. So thank you.